That's a very interesting question. I believe that's a question that many ask themselves, and that's a part of why we're here. So I believe it comes in steps. Step one is what we're looking at right now, and that is deliveries including drivers. So it's a fleet of different kinds of vehicles, all electric of course. It's systems that support everything, and then it's infrastructure, which means that you need to have city center hubs to do short stints in the city centers, to be very efficient in city centers, and you also need to have a countryside delivery that suits that. So step first, still drivers, a fleet that is combined of vans, of triples, electric vehicles, small electric vehicles, and cargo scooters or cargo bikes. Step two is what we are now reading in the news about driverless autonomous driving. It could be drones, could be cars, could be something, a new vehicle that we haven't seen before. I believe that the barrier is the regulations. All the regulations are not ready. The politicians, the society is not ready to remove the driver, the pilot, the actual presence of a person to do delivery. And the third phase, I don't know, future. Blade Runner.
Well, I think you'll see more and more specialization within delivery in order to meet those changing customer expectations. So there will always be a place for traditional delivery processes and operations, but more and more we will see retailers customizing their delivery solutions in order to keep their customers happy, reduce their costs, and reduce their carbon footprint.
The future delivery will be more based on, I think, ease for the consumer. I think we've drop boxes, things like that, where you can drop a delivery into someone's house, into a box, and they don't have to be there. They'll get alerted that it's been delivered, and I think that is a very good way of sort of coping with this current change in demand.
I think the future of delivery, I mean, there's a lot of talk about autonomous vehicles, there's a lot of talk about drones, but I think that delivery as we know it isn't going to fundamentally change in the medium term. I referred earlier to data playing a bigger part, and I think that's where we've got to go. Get more information on the barcodes, get more information into manifests, so that we can provide a much more seamless solution for our existing clients using the infrastructures that we've got in place.
So we do a lot of talking about this. Like last week, quite funnily, we're called a futurist, which I scoffed at, because really what we talk about is reality now. Technology is driving consumer. We discussed consumer trends before, driving technology, driving behaviours. But we see several trends as kind of very much at the core of the big shift in e-commerce and commerce logistics in particular. First one being is dynamic rerouting and the ability to receive parcels irrespective of where you are. You could be at a pub one day, for example. You're running late to go home to pick up your hourly slot delivery. You will be able to reroute that delivery to your particular location at that point in time. And as a customer, personally, I'd be prepared to pay extra for that. So the whole burden of cost doesn't have to fall on the carrier. It can actually be pushed out to the consumer. Our data shows that consumers are actually willing to pay for those premium experiences and convenience. Second thing, there's huge developments in omni-channel and retail. A lot of bricks and mortar B2C and B2B retailers are wisening up to the opportunity they've got to use store-based inventory, for example, or liberating store-based inventory, as we call it, for purpose of click and collect and ship from store. There's a lot of innovation happening in that space at the moment. In cross-border, there's a huge amount of innovation happening as well, being the fastest growth segment in commerce, both domestically and internationally. Accessing an international market. We're seeing postal authorities, carriers, aggregators using technology as a way to improve how they partner with other third parties in those domestic markets, so that they can become a bit more flexible in how they operate commercially. So all all those types of models are made possible. And of course, we could talk about AI and robotics until we're blue in the face, but I think one really interesting trend that we're seeing is, again, Amazon is investing a huge amount in the whole personal AI experience, like Alexa. It's one of their highest rates of patenting, and current capital investment is to do with innovation in Alexa. So what our data shows is that by 2020, about 35% of all purchases online, if you can call it that, will actually be made bot to bot. So it will actually be either Alexa making an order on your behalf or predicting some sort of house-based inventory that you require, whether it's toilet paper or cleaner or something that's actually in the fridge. So a lot of those purchasing decisions will actually be made by artificial intelligence in the next few years.